Now, exactly 20 years ago, shocking acts of terror forever changed the world. On the 11th of September 2001, America witnessed the worst terror attack. 4 planes, hijacked by a Muslim extremist group, hovered over the American skies. 2 of them crashed into the World Trade Center's Twin Towers. One flew right into the middle of the Pentagon building, the headquarters of the U.S. military. And the last one was bravely diverted by the people on board, which crashed into an abandoned strip mine in Pennsylvania, instead of its target, Washington. 2,977 people died that day, which was the biggest attack on American soil and the global superpower. 9/11 was a major turning point in American history. 20 years on, America still bears the scars of the horror of the eve of the 20th century of the deadly attacks. U.S. President Joe Biden paid his tribute to the victims and called for unity as America remembered its past.
To the families of the 2,977 people from more than 90 nations killed on September 11th, 2001 in New York City, Arlington, Virginia, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the 1,000 more who were injured. America and the world commemorate you and your loved ones, the pieces of your soul. We honor all those who risked and gave their lives in the minutes, hours, months, and years afterwards. The days that followed September 11th, 2001, we saw heroism everywhere, in places expected and unexpected. We also saw something all too rare, a true sense of national unity. Unity and resilience, the capacity to recover and repair in the face of trauma. Unity and service, the 9/11 generation stepping up to serve and protect in the face of terror, to get those terrorists who are responsible, to show everyone seeking to do harm to America that we will hunt you down and we will make you pay. That will never stop, today, tomorrow, ever, from protecting America.
This date holds great significance in American history. Throughout the day, U.S. President Joe Biden will visit all 3 sites of the attacks: the World Trade Tower in New York, the Flight 93 Memorial in Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon building in Arlington. 20 years ago, when America was attacked by the Al-Qaeda, then President George Bush vowed to hunt down the terrorists.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
Make no mistake, the United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts.
Well, this is live in New York. There you can see President Joe Biden with some of the victims and their families commemorating the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. And previously, we heard the president say that they will not forget. And this brings back very painful memories. Jill Biden is also present there, as you can see on your screen. This is live as America marks the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. You can also see former President Barack Obama and his family at the memorial site in New York. Bill Clinton is also present at the memorial. And some of this are families and victims of the 20th of the 9/11 attacks, paying their tributes at the memorial in New York. Well, WION correspondent Susan Teherani is joining us live from New York. Good to see you, Susan. An important and significant day for America, 20 years after the horrifying terror attack. Maybe you can describe to our viewers how the mood is on the ground.
Yeah, definitely a significant day here in New York City, one that's been etched for decades. You know, the mood really is significant in a way that it's subdued in some sense, and in another sense, it's in a way nostalgic and sort of reminiscent of 20 years back, when really on this day there was a spirit of unity that wasn't really seen perhaps any time in contemporary history. And with everything that has been going on, really not only in recent weeks, but in recent months and in recent years, that spirit of unity somewhat has been lost, perhaps among the American people, with the divisions that's been going on, notably politically. So I think that has been the theme this year, of sort of trying to bring the country back together and bringing that kind of sentiment of unity back together, despite of all the bad news and the grim atmosphere that's been hovering over this 20th anniversary of 9/11, and trying to make the best of it and honoring those that have sacrificed so much and the lives that were lost, and as we look ahead, really.
Okay, these are live images from New York. This is at the memorial site. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden are at the memorial site, together with former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. Some of the families of the victims of the 9/11 are in attendance. And shortly, we expect the President to make a brief speech after this memorial. We're still on with Susan Teherani, so let's listen in to what is happening.
The moment of silence we just shared marks the very moment 20 years ago that American Airlines Flight 11 flew into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. My name is Mike Lowe, and my daughter Sarah Elizabeth Lowe was a flight attendant on that plane. These 20 years have felt like both a long time and a short time, and as we recite the names of those we lost, my memory goes back to that terrible day when it felt like an evil specter had descended on our world. But it was also a time when many people acted above and beyond the ordinary. Beginning with the actions of the flight crews, like Sarah, and the passengers on the 4 flights, the individuals in the towers, the professionals of the fire and police, and later the volunteers who helped work on the pile sensitive to recovering our loved ones' remains. They helped pull us through the darkest days of our lives. In the last 20 years, my family and I have at times known unbearable sorrow and disbelief about the lives that would never be. Years we have filled with speaking out on my daughter's behalf and calling on many more precautions, and also for the history to be remembered not as numbers and a date, but the faces of ordinary people who looked a lot like Sarah. At the first memorial ceremony, my wife Bobby and I stood here with thousands of family members, right in the midst of a gray and black world of destroyed buildings. Today, this is a quiet place of memory. The gleaming 9/11 Museum holds a sacred repository for our loved ones' remains, and the still brightly stories of all the sons and daughters, the siblings, husbands and wives, grandparents, and friends. As we carry these 20 years forward, I find sustenance in a continuing appreciation for all of those who rose to be more than ordinary people, and a father's pride in his daughter's selfless acts in the last moments of her life, acting with heroic calm to help those in the air and those on the ground, a legacy from Sarah that burns like an eternal flame.
Gordon M. Ameth, Jr.
Edelmiro Abad.
Marie Rose Abad.
Andrew Anthony Abate.
Vincent Paul Abate.
Lawrence Christopher Abel.
Alana Abraham.
William F. Abrahamson.
Richard Anthony Aceto.
Heinrich Bernard Ackerman.
Paul Aquaviva.
Christian Adams.
Donald Leroy Adams.
Patrick Adams.
Shannon Lewis Adams.
Stephen George Adams.
Ignatius Udo Adanga.
Christy A. Adamo.
Terrence Edward Adderley, Jr.
Sophia B. Otto.
Lee Adler.
Daniel Thomas Aflito.
Emmanuel Akwazi Afwakwa.
Alok Agarwal.
Mukul Kumar Agarwala.
Joseph Agnello.
David Scott Agnes.
João Alberto da Fonseca Aguiar, Jr.
Brian G. Ahern.
Jeremiah Joseph Ahern.
Joanne Marie Aladiotis.
Sabir Ahmed.
Terrence Andre Aiken.
Godwin O. Ajala.
Trudy M. Alagero.
Andrew Alameno.
Margaret Ann Alario.
Gary M. Albero.
John Leslie Albert.
Peter Craig Alderman.
And my brother, Vladimir Savinkin. Vladik, we all love and miss you so much. Thank you for answering our prayers and showing us that you're always with us. I look at your nephew's face, and I see you in his face sometimes, and I cherish those moments. 20 years have gone by, and so much has changed in our lives, but the memory of you and keeping you close to us and cherishing the gift of your life never changes and never will. Мы тебя очень любим, Владик, и мы тебя помним. Передай папе привет.
And my father, Edward Joseph Papa. Dad, we miss you every day. Our greatest gifts are your beautiful grandchildren. They embody your kind spirit, warm heart, loving nature, and zest for life. They are a daily reminder that your legacy lives on. We love you, Dad.
Jacqueline Delaney Alderidge Frederick. David D. Alger. Ernest Alakakos. Edward L. Allegretto. Eric Allen. Joseph Ryan Allen.
Richard Dennis Allen.
Richard L. Allen.
Christopher E. Allingham.
So we're listening right now as the names of the fallen victims of September 11, 2001 are being read one by one at the 9/11 Memorial here in New York City. Now, we must say that this year's ceremony was subdued and smaller than usual, considering the fact that it was a COVID year. Only immediate family members of the victims are taking part. Nonetheless, an emotional ceremony for New Yorkers and Americans alike as they gather outside of the 9/11 Memorial. And also, many holding masses in churches across the city for the fallen victims at the same time as this memorial is taking place. The biggest expected to be held at St. Patrick's Cathedral on 5th Avenue at around 10 a.m.
That he does, and I know that you see us because I feel you. Continue to watch over us and your family. 20 years feels like an eternity, but yet it still feels like yesterday. Until we meet again, my love, rest in peace.
Peter Paul Apollo.
Faustino Apostle Jr.
Frank Thomas Aquilino.
Patrick Michael Aljanres.
David Gregory Archer.
Michael George Archinsky.
Louis Arena.
Barbara Jean Aristoghi.
Adam P. Arias.
Michael Armstrong.
Jack Charles Aaron.
Joshua Ton Aaron.
Richard Avery Aronow.
Myra Joy Arison.
Japhet Jesse Aria.
Carl Francis Azaro.
Michael A. Asiak.
Mike Thomas J. Ashton.
Janice Marie Ashley.
Greg A. Atlas.
Manuel O. Asinimbe.
James Otterfield.
Gerald Thomas Atwood.
Ezra Avales.
Louis F. Aversano Jr.
Arlene T. Bacatadas.
Sandy Ayala.
John Bagagliano.
Eustace Bacchus. Jane Ellen Basler.
Robert J. Bearwater.
Andrew J. Bailey.
Britt T. Bailey.
Garnet Ace Bailey.
Tatiana Balalinsky.
Michael S. Baksh.
Sharon M. Balcom.
Michael Andrew Bain.
Catherine Bantis.
And my uncle, firefighter Christopher Michael Mazzillo. I know you're with us every day watching over us, and even though I never met you in person, I still miss you a lot. Mom always tells me all the crazy fun things you did, and I'm sure if you were here, I'd probably be doing them with you. Thank you for being the best guardian angel and for sending us Killian. We know he can see you. Mom also says, I have your lovable charm and fearlessness. Not only do I have your charm, but I am honored to have your name as my middle name. You, Pop-Up, and Dad have inspired me to follow in your footsteps and become a firefighter too. We hope you will continue to watch over us and keep us healthy and safe. We love you so much, Uncle Chris.
And my sister, Cecilia Elizabeth Richard Lawson. Dear Cece, it's been 20 years since you left us. I remember this day as if it was yesterday. You are greatly missed by our mother, your sisters, your nieces, your nephews. It was such a sad day on September 11th. I remember you working at the Pentagon, and when they told us that airplane had attacked the Pentagon.
As we hear these names being read, one by one, the fallen victims of September 11, 2001, we're reminded of how 9/11 impacted not only the generation that was present and alive, but also the generation after, that remembers the fallen or had heard about the fallen and perhaps only knows the world after 9/11. And now here we are 20 years after. Perhaps for many Americans, a lot of questions remain left unanswered on what comes next. But today, at this moment, a sense of national unity prevails on honoring these fallen victims and remembering the sacrifices that they did, which is difficult not to hear in the voices of the loved ones that are reading the names.
Todd M. Beamer,
Paul Frederick Bettini,
Jane S. Beatty,
Alan Anthony Bevan,
Lawrence Ira Beck,
Minette Marie Beckles,
Carl John Bedigian,
Michael Ernest Beekman,
and my uncle Thomas F. Swift. We love you and we miss you. You live on in our hearts and the hearts and minds of your family, and we think about you every day, and I can't wait to meet you again.
And my brother T.J. Hargrave, who we continue to miss and love every day. The world is a lesser place without him.
Maria A. Baer,
Max J. Bilke,
Yelena Belilovsky,
Nina Patrice Bell,
Debbie S. Bellows,
Stephen Elliott Belson,
Paul M. Benedetti,
Denise Lenore Benedetto,
Brian Craig Bennett,
Eric L. Bennett,
Oliver Bennett,
Margaret L. Benson,
Dominic J. Berardi,
James Patrick Berger,
Stephen Howard Berger,
John P. Bergen,
Alvin Bergson,
Daniel David Bergstein,
Graham Andrew Berkeley,
Michael J. Berkeley,
Donna M. Bernartz,
David W. Bernard,
May God bless our fallen brothers and sisters, their families, their friends, and their loved ones. He says, I'll see you in my dreams. The road is long and seeming without end. Days go on, but I'll remember you, my friend. And though you're gone, and my heart's been emptied, it seems, I'll see you in my dreams. I got your guitar by my bed, all your favorite records and all the books that you read. And though my soul feels like it's been split at the seams, I'll see you in my dreams. I'll see you in my dreams, when all our summers have come to an end. I'll see you in my dreams. We'll meet and live and laugh again. I'll see you in my dreams. Yeah, up around the river bend, for death is not the end. 'Cause I'll see you in my dreams. I'll see you in my dreams, when all our summers have come to an end. I'll see you in my dreams. We'll meet and live and love again. I'll see you in my dreams. Yeah, up around the river bend, for death is not the end. And I'll see you in my dreams. You in my, I'll see you in my dreams.
William H. Bernstein.
David M. Beret.
David Shelby Berry.
Joseph John Berry.
William Reed Bethke.
Yanene Beetrue.
Timothy D. Betterly.
Carolyn Mayer Bugh.
Edward Frank B.A.
Paul Michael Bear.
Anil Tahilram Bharvani.
Bella J. Buchan.
Shimi D. Beagleisen.
Peter Alexander Bielfeld.
William G. Biggert.
Brian Eugene Bilcher.
Mark Bingham.
Carl Vincent Beanie.
And my uncle, firefighter Joseph Patrick Henry from Ladder Company 21. I wish I had the chance to meet you, Uncle Joey. I heard you were a great person.
And my husband, Thomas Michael Kelly. We love you and we miss you.
If you're just joining us, we're coming to you live from New York, and you're watching images of the 9 9/11 memorial and the ceremony that's currently taking place right now, commemorating and remembering the lives lost during that fateful day on September 11th, 2001. We just saw an emotional performance taking place, and after that, the continuation of the names being read by the loved ones who lost their loved ones. And, you know, as we're listening to these names, you know, the phrase "never forget" resonates more and more 20 years, perhaps more than ever, 2 decades after those terrorist attacks, and 20 years after the war on terror was launched. Perhaps not only for the people that were alive during that day, but when you hear some of the phrases and some of the words that the loved ones use in remembering the people that were lost, you come to realize that it didn't only impact the people that were present during that day, but the generation after that perhaps doesn't know a world before 9/11, and an uncertain future right now moving forward on what comes next, considering the volatile atmosphere that we're in right now. But for today, at least for now, in this moment, for New York, for America, it's about unity, and it's about remembering the innocent lives lost due to the heinous attacks, and honoring the heroes that went head first and decided and made a conscious choice to save as many lives as possible. And that's the ceremony that we're watching right now. We know that U.S. President Joe Biden is taking part not only in the ceremony here in New York, but will take part in ceremonies in the other sites of the attack as well. And what's interesting is he's not speaking, although he did deliver a message, a pre-recorded message on 9/11. Whether there isn't much to say perhaps on this 20th anniversary is up for
Donna
debate.
M. Bowen.
Kimberly S. Bowers.
Veronique Nicole Bowers.
Larry Bowman.
Sean Edward Bauman, Jr.
Kevin L. Bowser.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to the voice of Eric Njoka. This is at the National September 11 Memorial and Museum. And what is currently happening is that America is marking the passage of 2 decades since the day that changed their lives and indeed the world's life. We are still live with Susan Teherani, who's our correspondent in New York. The focus of this commemoration will be reading out the names, which is still ongoing, by family members in person. And throughout the ceremony, they will observe 6 moments of silence. And this is significant because the 6 moments of silence are acknowledging when each of the World Trade Center towers was struck and fell, and the times corresponding to the attack on the Pentagon and the crash of Flight 93. So once again, this is at the National September 11 Memorial and Museum. Currently, what is going on is that the families of the victims are paying their tribute, quite a somber mood at this event. They will read out the names of each of the victims who lost their lives in this attack 20 years ago. And throughout the ceremony, they will also observe 6 moments of silence.
Watching over me and our family. We all love you so much.
Mark Francis Broderick.
Herman Charles Broghammer.
Keith A. Broomfield.
Bernard C. Brown II.
We are still live with Susan Teherani in New York. Susan, thank you very much for staying with us. Probably you have talked to some of these families of the victims of 9/11. What are they saying? What is their feeling? What is their mood right there? Probably you can describe that to our viewers.
Well, a somber mood indeed, and a reflective one. One can't imagine what they're going through right now, or every year when this time comes around, 20 years on. As I can only quote one father said, it seems like a lifetime, but also seems like it went by like a flashing light. I think anyone who's lost a loved one can relate to that. But I think ultimately, as we've been saying, and I think that this has really been the theme of this year because it's been so grim and incomprehensible that we wouldn't imagine the geopolitical climate of the 9/11 attacks and 20 years on being where we are right now and hardly having a mission accomplished moment despite everything. Has been really to try to find a sense of unity and peace in all of this, and to really, at the end of the day, at least for today and this moment, realize that that day and the days that followed were about the innocent lives lost, the heroes that went in and tried to save as many lives as possible, and to really honor those who sacrificed so much to get us where we are right now. So I think not only is the mood somber, but it's also one of camaraderie as well. I'm standing in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral, and there's a mass going right now, but at around 10 a.m., which is about 45 minutes from now, there's going to be a very large mass commemorating the victims of 9/11, and this is going to be a common theme not only here in New York but around the country as well, to really pray and show a sense of unity, really, for those who lost their lives senselessly to terrorism on that day. It's very important to, quote unquote, never forget.
Indeed, Susan, never forget. I am so sure that you had the chance to speak to families of these victims, and there is one question that everyone is asking: how do they feel about the troops' withdrawal in Afghanistan and the situation currently in Afghanistan?
We talked to a lot of veterans. I think that I think everyone agrees, and notably the veterans. I mean, it's very hard for them to come to terms with the fact that 20 years of fighting and losing, your fellow Marines. Comes down to the fact that on the same day as you're sort of commemorating 20 years of those heinous attacks, a so-called Taliban government is being formed in Afghanistan. So it's they, on the one hand, they feel like they deserved perhaps better. On the other hand, they know that for 20 years this country was safe from terrorism, so their efforts were not in vain. It's a complicated issue to discuss with them, but I think ultimately it boils down to a lot of factors, and that's where it gets complicated. But I think ultimately it really does come to the fact that one thing is for sure, and I think everyone that you talk to, whether it's the families of the victims, whether it's veterans, whether it's ordinary Americans, they agree it just didn't have to end this way. That's the underlying consensus, at least.
Susan Teherani, thank you very much for that update. Susan, coming to us live from New York, where the National September 11 Memorial and Museum, this is the location where the world, or indeed Americans, are commemorating the passage of 2 decades since the day that changed their lives and indeed the world. And after this event at sundown, the annual Tribute in Light will once again illuminate the skies in commemoration of the anniversary of the attacks.